Oh, there is a lot of comedy news today. Hey, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news for Thursday. The theme of the late night shows was Fox and Friend Zoned seemed to be the common joke. We'll get into that. President Trump had called into Fox and Friends on Tuesday, and he told Fox and Friends that he planned to call into the program regularly in the final few weeks. The host, Steve Doocy, said, Fox News has not agreed to giving you a weekly platform. You may want to do it every week, but Fox is not committed to that. We'll take it on a case-by-case basis, and Joe Biden as well is always welcome to join us for 47 minutes, just like we did with the president. So that set up a whole slew of jokes. Trevor Noah said, wow, Steve Doocy just told the president of the United States, don't call us, we'll call you. Imagine that. He's the most powerful man in the world, and they're treating him like he's a Jehovah's Witness who's also selling timeshares. Seth Meyers said, Trump called into Fox and Friends and announced he will now appear on the show once a week, though he didn't say exactly why he's cutting back. James Corden with the, I think Trump just got Fox and Friend Zoned. That is the best joke of the day, I think. Jimmy Fallon said, that's right. It'll only be one call a week and 168 hours per call. Multiply 24 by 7 if you don't get that joke. Colbert said, wow, that's cold. That's like ending a date with, so I'll see you next Saturday and every Saturday after that. And she says, you may want to see me next Saturday, but Katie is not committed to that. We'll take it on a case-by-case basis. Trevor, still, man, I want to give props to Steve Doocy for inviting Joe Biden on the show to make it seem like Fox and Friends is a balanced news show. That was pretty cool. Yeah, at the end, he was just like, just to be clear, we'll also talk to Joe Biden. It's only fair. All right, coming up next, are Democrats going to burn your house down while you sleep? We'll discuss, but the answer is yes. Trevor points out the fact that Doocy knew it was 47 minutes showed you how annoyed he was. Not 45 minutes, not an hour, 47 minutes exactly. That's someone who spent most of a conversation staring at their watch. Fallon said, you know it's been a great chat when the person you're talking to says exactly how many minutes it's been. Well, we've been talking about 47 minutes, Grandma. Trevor again. And by the way, if Melania ever wanted to have an affair, Trump's Fox News interviews would be the perfect time for her to do it. Okay, Eduardo, my husband just called into Fox now, so we have anywhere between 45 minutes and 3 hours to make cold, indifferent love. 2 more from Corden. To put that in perspective, without commercials, this show isn't even 47 minutes long, and think about how long this feels some nights. After 47 minutes of talking on Fox News, Trump finally had to get off the phone and go back to his other major responsibility, watching Fox News. The New York Times has a very lengthy, very interesting interview with Chris Rock. I'll break it apart over the next few days. This first part is about Chris showing up at Chappelle's show, and Chris wasn't sure if he was hiding out or not. The Times writes, on the Friday before Labor Day, he was speaking by phone from Yellow Springs, Ohio, where he'd gone to spend time with Dave Chappelle. Rock had previously traveled there in July to perform. Rock said, I don't know if it's a secret. Maybe it is out here, but he couldn't easily find the words to describe what he'd been doing before the trip. And he said, I mean, I guess I've been acting in a pandemic. He was working on Fargo, which has got new buzz for the new season. The Times said, hey, you performed at one of Chappelle's show. What was it like? Rock said, when you're in the clubs, you learn the rain crowd is the best crowd. Anytime it's raining, they really want to be there. The pandemic crowd is really good. Dude, not only do we want to be here, there's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to watch. Thank you. So what did Rock do in his set? He said, I talked about our political whatever, America. Part of the reason we're in the predicament we're in is the president's a landlord. No one has less compassion for humans than a landlord. And we're shocked he's not engaged. Rock adds, you ever see that movie, The Last Emperor, where like a 5-year-old is the emperor of China? There's a kid and he's the king. So I'm like, it's all the Democrats' fault because you know that the emperor was 5 years old. And when the emperor is 5 years old, they only lead in theory. There's usually an adult who's like, all right, this is what we're really going to do. And it was totally up to Pelosi and the Democrats. Their thing was, we're going to get him impeached, which was never going to happen. You let the pandemic come in. Yes, we can blame Trump, but he's really the 5-year-old. Put it this way, Republicans tell outright lies. Democrats leave out key pieces of the truth that would lead to a more nuanced argument. In a sense, it's all fake news. Strong stuff from Chris Rock. I'll break that apart in the next few days. All right, from the Hollywood Reporter. All right, I wanted to hate on this, and now I love it. You'll see why in a second. Fox and Robert Smigel are teaming up for an election comedy special featuring puppet versions of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So I saw the picture of the puppets, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so lame. This looks terrible. But stay with me. The man behind Triumph is writing and executive producing Let's Be Real, set to air October 1st, the half-hour special. We'll touch on politics, no kidding, pop culture, and the election with puppetry, celebrity cameos, and remote pieces. That sounds really lame, but wait. Stay with me. I love this. You know I love when suits give quotes to the press. So here's the suit from Fox saying, Robert Smigel is a uniquely gifted creator, and as the election approaches, we're so excited to be working with him on bringing a new take on the current discourse taking place across the political spectrum. So what did Smigel say? He said, I'm a uniquely gifted creator, and as the election approaches, they are so excited to be working with me on bringing a new take on the current discourse taking place across the political spectrum. I love that, Robert Smigel. I love it. And then he added, oh yeah, for me to poop on. South Park's coming back. This from Deadline. The COVID pandemic comes to South Park when Comedy Central's long-running animated series returns September 30th with a 1-hour episode titled The Pandemic Special. The Pandemic Special finds Randy seizing on a growing pop market as he comes to terms with his role in the COVID-19 outbreak. Cartman, still in pajamas from remote learning, is none too thrilled about returning to the slavery of the school classroom where teachers seem to have been replaced by cops. Nothing, says Comedy Central, resembles the normal everyone once knew. That sounds pretty funny. From Chortle, a couple Emmys got given out already. Last week tonight with John Oliver did really well. They got 3. They won Outstanding Writing for a Variety Series, for Picture Editing, and for Technical Direction. Oliver accepted the Writing Award via video, and he used one of his son's creepy toys in place of the actual Emmy. Oliver said, I'd like to thank my writers, obviously, who work incredibly hard all year, and this year's been very challenging. And I'd like to thank the Emmys for not holding the Emmys in person this year because of, The Thing. Thank you. We will cherish it forever. Saturday Night Live also won 3 Emmys. Best Variety Sketch Series. What were they even up against? Best Directing on a Variety Show, and for Production Design. James Corden's Carpool Karaoke was named Outstanding Short Variety Series. All the awards are Creative Arts Emmys, primarily for off-screen talent. Speaking of the Emmys, they are Sunday night. Jimmy Kimmel is hosting, and I just want to put in the back of your brain, if Monday's episode comes out a little late, it's because I'm probably going to record it early Monday morning. So I usually hit publish on these things at 5:30 Eastern, so it may not be out at 5:30, but it should be out by 8. We'll see how the day goes. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo talked about comedy clubs and why they're not open yet. He says the greatest risk is still the density. He said, I understand concert venues. My good friend Billy Joel, name dropper, he was doing Madison Square Garden. When will we get back to Madison Square Garden? Those large arenas pose the greatest risk, even if you say, all right, every 2 seats, every 3 seats, yeah, but you're still channeling people in and out of a corridor, right? They're still coming through a gate, and it's not essential. And I hate to say this because everything is essential. Comedy clubs. How essential is a comedy club when you're talking about the infection rate? Not to offend people in the comedy club. Lord knows we need to laugh, but those are the calibrations we're making. And from the Washington Post, lawmakers flanked by veterans and Jon Stewart announced legislation that would deliver care for veterans who developed health problems after they were exposed to open-air pits used to burn trash and waste during overseas wars. The legislation would declare certain illnesses among combat veterans as linked to toxic burn pits, removing barriers of proof of exposure that advocates have said are too high. Jon Stewart said, war after war after war, we treat them as expendable. When they come home, we're done with them. If an enemy did this to us, we'd bomb them into oblivion. We did it to ourselves and we're ignoring it. He says, the smoking gun is literally smoking guns. That's your comedy news for today. There's a lot. There's Chris Rock stuff I didn't get to. What do I have here in the hopper for tomorrow? I still haven't done that Hannibal Buress thing, and I feel like, there's an Adam Sandler thing. So I got plenty for tomorrow. I've got enough for Saturday as well. So a pretty busy week. It's nice to see it pick up again. Sunday are the Emmys. So we're back, everybody. The big Labor Day comedy dearth is over. Hey, the show's also on Amazon Podcast now, so you can subscribe there, or Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, or follow on Spotify. And I do thank you for listening. I'll catch you tomorrow.